Little Bandology. Episode...
Is it 6?
6. It's 6 of season 2. Here we are in season 2. We've had our last 2 episodes, of course, have been talking about instruments and beginners and all that sort of stuff. So we're going to take a little break from that for really the next 2 episodes. Our next episode is going to feature Dr. Nikki Driver, and she's going to talk to us about her journey in beginning trumpet class, which we're really looking forward to. But this particular episode is kind of different.
It's kind of special, y'all.
It's kind of different because we're going to talk about our marching journey, or at least the tail end of our marching journey, I guess you could say. As we've said before, we are a military band. We make straight lines. And for those of you, because we do have listeners from all over the globe, which is fantastic, and we love you, and we are very thankful that you listen to us. What we do in the military band is we play military marches, and we march in straight lines. And we do make pretty pictures in our drills and things like that. But everything is very math-based, and we have a unadjusted step. So we do a 30-inch stride. For the most part, there are some military bands that do a shorter stride, and we call it 6-5. The military marching journey in Texas, as of recent, the last 5 years we've had the UL contest.
Yeah, I think was
5
it
years of UL contest.
2020 was the first year.
I
that
think
we
so.
Had the state military contest.
Well, we have, of course, everything in band for the most part is governed by the University Interscholastic League. We also have the National Association of Military Marching Band, and they have had a contest forever. It was hosted at A&M, which is like the mecca of military band, if you're familiar with the Fighting Texas Aggie Band. When we first started teaching, the contest was held around East Texas for the most part, but then UIL picked it up, and now we have a state military contest.
That is sponsored by UIL.
Sponsored by UIL. It's kind of hosted by NAMBY. It's a partnership is what it is.
Right, but because UIL is now part of it, makes it more accepted.
It makes it a bigger deal, I think.
Administrators look at it as more important now.
Well, not only administrators, I think communities as well.
Yes.
Thing is, the NAMBY contest, before it was UIL, was a big deal to band directors and students because it seemed to be always a much more difficult contest, but you were judged against a standard. UIL state is not judged against a standard so much as you're judged against your neighbor. So it's everybody, you're ranked in however many you have. Now, military is kind of an East Texas thing, and we've talked about that in past episodes.
But I mean, there are military bands outside of East Texas, and I think it's important that we say that.
I mean, they extend all the way down into Houston and all the way up to the border.
Right.
Of Texas, up to the Oklahoma border, all the way from Shreveport, all the way west towards Austin even.
Yes, and it is the communities that have military bands, they are very protective of that style.
Yes, so much so that, and I have never done anything but military in my time. Michelle has worked at both.
I grew up in a corps style band, so I am not as protective of military as communities that march military are.
I grew up small school military. We didn't know that there was an NAMBY contest growing up. We didn't know that there was area or state marching contest. We just kind of lived in our little bubble, and that was fine. And we got our first division, and we went on. And then when I started teaching, I found this whole other world that was surrounded by military band. It really is a very proud style of marching, and every school that does it to a level that is just absolutely miraculous to me. I love watching military bands for the simple fact that there is not a hard set rule on a lot of things. There's a lot of interplay. Their drills are very original, even though everything is very math-based. So you can create really beautiful moments in a military drill just like you can in a corps drill. If your school's been doing it forever, there really is a high sense of pride. And matter of fact, most schools that I've gone to, when I've come in as a head director, that's the first question they ask. Well, are you going to try to change a score? And I think that's what happens when you get a new director in some of these cases is the rumors begin to abound that they're going to change the military style. And most often that is not the case.
Well, I don't think that you often have directors that don't know about military applying for those jobs. Schools that are military schools.
And we actually, I can't remember who told me that there was actually a band that switched to military this year. That was, gosh, where were they? But somebody told me that. And it was someone who would know, but I can't remember who told me that. but there was actually a band that switched to military so that they could begin to compete in the military circuit, which is great, which is fantastic. It's definitely a treasured older art form. Now we have this amazing state contest, and it's hosted at Baylor University in Waco in order to compete, and it is an every year contest. So we do this every year.
Just like the open class
Just like the open class. For those of you that don't know, not that long ago, state used to be an every other year affair.
And when we first started the military state contest, it was still every other year.
Yes. And now it is an every year affair.
And we kind of lucked out in that when they changed it, it was our year. And then the very next year, they changed it to every year. So we've actually been doing military every year. Like we've had our state every year.
Every single year.
Since it moved to state
we
every year.
We didn't really get a break. Contest being every year, so you have classifications 1A through 6A. Well, 1A and 2A are combined for state military. 3A is its own classification. 4A is its own classification. And then 5A and 6A are combined. And so all of those classifications, so the 1A, 2A, and the 4A compete on the same day, and the 3A and the 5A, 6A compete on the same day. And it is a full-fledged extravaganza of military band for basically 48 hours. There's a prelim and a final for each classification. And it varies from year to year as to how many are in each classification. 4A is a huge classification.
Right.
There's a lot of 4A bands.
They usually have 13 to 16 bands
Varying
and
in
prelims.
Probably in 1A, 2A is actually, we usually have anywhere between 9 to 13.
I think we can have up to
16.
16. We can have up to 16 in ours, but we haven't had that many
that have registered. There may be more, but 16. And then 3A is very similar to that. And I remember when I first started teaching, 3A had tons of military bands, like tons and tons and tons. But with classifications through UIL, a lot of them have become 2As.
Right.
And so a lot of our 2As were 3As not too long, including Beckville. Beckville used to be a 3A.
Yes.
And now is a larger size 2A.
Very, very shortly before you started working there, they were a 3A.
Yeah, they were a 3A. And then, of course, 5A, 6A moving together. And so this year, our band had the opportunity to go and compete at state. And we have competed at state for the last 5 years.
Yes.
And we've had various levels of, I would say various levels of success, depending on how you look at it. We've been on the medal stand twice. The last 2 years, we didn't advance to finals, but we've had very young bands and maybe not our best run, because at these contests, all the bands are just absolutely fantastic.
And I think it's important to say that this contest has made it to where all of the military bands have started to grow exponentially. Everybody has gotten so much better because of the level of competition at this contest. Everybody is working harder. Everybody is getting better. And so just the level of competition is so much higher every year.
Yes. And it really comes down to which bands just really kind of have the best day, because every band, I can definitely say this year in 2A, every single band was fantastic in prelims. And we didn't have a clue as to how anything was going to come out in prelims based off what we saw. But it's really come down to every director and community is being a cheerleader for this sacred style of ours, so to speak. And I think that speaks a lot to the dedication of NAMBY and the officers of NAMBY, as well as UIL really working to make sure that this style of marching and this style of musicality sort of carries through.
Because it's really, honestly, it's history. It's our history.
Yes.
It's where bands started.
Yes, but before open class or corps style marching, most bands were military.
Correct. It goes back to even just the history of wind band period. Like it's where wind band started.
The Janissary Band.
Yes.
There you go. Mr. Allen would be proud. The Janissary bands, the military bands that were used to provide the excitement for the troops to go into battle. That being said, the contest is a really neat contest. If you've ever been to Baylor, McLean Stadium is absolutely massive.
And gorgeous.
And gorgeous. It's so pretty. It's such a well-run contest, and the students really do get a lot out of it. This year, after 2 years of not making finals, our goal this year was just to go and just do our best.
Have our very best
Have
performance.
our very best run. I had a goal of sixth or better. They take the top 5 to finals, and in my heart, I knew that If we could be in the top 6, that was an improvement, and that would give us something to grow on. We have a relatively young band, mostly 8th and 9th graders this year, with a smattering of juniors in there, with our sophomore and senior classes being single digit, as you do with a small school. Sometimes you have years where you have 18 in a class, and some years you, like our sophomore class, is 5.
Right. And that class is a smaller class. I want to say there's only like 42 or something in that class. It's a very, very small class of students.
And it also depends on, the level of commitment from a lot of different sources, like from the student, from the parent, from their experience in beginner band, their experience with other activities, and where their priorities lie. So it varies from year to year. But we were definitely content with going in and coming in 6th or better. Really, with the group that we were there, a good run could end you up anywhere. And so we went through prelims. And of course, during all of this, I am losing my voice. So we go into warm up.
Yeah, Josh had a cold leading up to this.
Oh my gosh. And I don't lose my voice very often. I take care of my voice, and normally it's not a problem, but we get to warm up and my voice is starting to go. We watch them march. Actually, I don't watch. I pace.
Josh paces.
I do. I can't help it. I have to move. My ADD kicks in. I love to listen, and I just want to sort of check in. And every time I checked in, they looked good. They sounded good to me. They seemed like they were having a good run. Before they came off the field, I said, that was a good run. And she said, I do. I think that was a good run. And I said,
I'm going to say, normally I do watch, but I did not watch as much as I normally do. I did listen more. I looked down more, and I listened because we'd been spending so much time on the music leading up to it.
Yes.
Because the marching had been pretty solid. We hadn't spent as much time on marching.
And I'm sure this goes for any band. When you are preparing for anything, you know where your problem spots are visually, and that's where your eyes go.
Right,
and you can't help it.
Right, and so I didn't want to focus on that stuff, because if it was going to be a problem, I didn't want that to be in my head.
And that's probably why I just pace and listen and check in and not breathe for 6 minutes or however long our drill is,
right,
or however long they're on the field.
But we finished. They finished, and we both felt like, okay, that was a pretty good run.
And so we came off the field. The kids seemed to be fine. We're going up because at UIL, after you do this is for open class and military.
At State,
you do your performance, and the kids get all hot and sweaty. And what do you want to do when you're all hot and sweaty? Take pictures. And so we go to line up to get our pictures taken.
And I'm also going to say it was particularly windy.
Oh my goodness gracious. It was no military bands pretty much wore plumes.
It was like 20 to 30 miles per hour wind gusts.
Yeah, it was
ridiculous.
We watched a few bands, and even our band, I believe, catch the tubas. You see them kind of lean back but still try to keep in line. Those kids earned badges of honor that day, in my opinion.
There's a cold front blowing in.
Oh my goodness gracious. And sometimes the wind wouldn't be bad, and sometimes McLean turned into a wind tunnel. It was crazy.
It's barely open on one side, but just
That's enough.
It was just open enough for that wind to really blow through. It was kind of a wind tunnel.
Yeah. And so we're going up to get our pictures, and of course the kids are sweaty and they're tired. They're out of breath after doing what you do for 6 to 8 minutes. You do kind of get a little bit tired, and we asked the kids, well, so how did you feel? How did you feel about it? And almost every student we asked came across with, that was not a good run. That was not a good run.
We don't feel good.
We don't feel good about it. So I pulled them all together and said, well, here's the deal, guys. If we don't feel good about that, we're going to take whatever we get. We're going to be content, and we're going to learn from this, and we're going to continue to get better. And they all agreed. I mean, we were right there before pictures. That's where we were. So we took our pictures. We go back. We get changed out of our uniforms. We get everything packed up, so that way as soon as we find out how we did, we can move on to the next task at hand, which at that time was lunch, because we did all this marching prelim in the morning. We went back into the stadium, and all the students sat together and watched a few more bands to finish out, some fantastic bands in our classification to finish out, and cheered for them, and were excited for them, and we really wanted everybody to do well. What happens at the end is they bring out all the drum majors, but all the directors get sort of...
We go down to a meeting.
It's a very secluded place. It's the media room down at Baylor at McLean
it's like
Stadium.
Underneath the stadium.
And so you just see all the directors making the trek across the stadium to go down. And you sit there for a while, and the directors awkwardly visit because the stress is high, and everybody wants to advance, and everybody wants their kids to be recognized for how awesome they are.
Everybody's been working towards the same goal.
Yes, and all of the bands are always so impressive. The last 2 years, we knew going in, we just felt going in with all the directors, I don't know that this is going to be our year to make finals, and we were right. And this year we went in and we kind of felt that, to be honest, I was really hoping for about sixth place.
We didn't have the same expectation this year, and so it didn't feel the same. Because we didn't have the same expectation, it didn't feel as heavy down there this year.
And our expectation this year was never to beat anyone specific or anything like that. It was just to have the kids have a positive experience. And I think as directors, sometimes we can get bogged down with what we think the goal should be and what it should actually be. And I think it's very important to remember that these are students and these are memories that they're going to take. And if they end up not getting the place that they thought they deserved, the bitterness can set in versus if you go out and you said, guys, we did our best. Everybody else did their best and their best was just a little bit better than ours today. You can actually, it hurts, but not the same kind of hurt. And it becomes more of a positive experience. And I think that's where our mindset was this year.
Yeah,
and it did make for a really great rehearsal.
Yeah,
fall.
I don't think there was one time this year in our preparation that we talked about another school and what they were or weren't doing.
Yes. Matter of fact, we didn't
compare ourselves.
No.
We just worked on ourselves and tried to make ourselves better each day. And I think that was good for everyone's mental health.
I think so. I never left a band rehearsal. There were a few where the kids were tired. It was right after school gets started and you hit that stride and then everything hits the same week.
Everybody gets stressed out at the same time.
And it's right before the 3-week mark and we're beginning to look at eligibility and things like that. And the kids, they shift a little bit and you have to bring them back. I call it pulling the ox through the mud, and you kind of have to pull them through. But other than that, there was never a rehearsal that I left and I went, well, that's it. These kids are done. They were always really positive about moving forward. And so that was our frame of mind going into this. And so we sat there, Dr. Kent, Brad Kent, who's the head guy of Music UIL, came in and told everyone how much he thanked everyone for being there and told everyone how great the bands were. And he announced the finalists in no particular order. And he said, Beckville first, and we were absolutely in shock.
We
did not know.
Looked at each other with this
hey,
totally shocked
look.
look.
We met our goal. We met our goal, and that is what we needed to do. So we were just on cloud nine. We were just having the best time. And they announced all the finalists, and then we drew for order. Then they go out and announce. Well, typically I will text our administrators and tell them how we did. Like in the last 2 years, I'd text them and go, hey, the kids are going to be upset. Just be prepared for that. You're going to be down there with them because they sit right down there with the band and they console or they congratulate they congratulate them anyway. They really do love on our kids in Beckville, but they prepare mentally for what they're going to have to do. Well, we didn't send them a text. In McLean Stadium, the entire stadium can see the entrance and exit of the band directors from the tunnel.
And so we've told our own sons who were in the band before, if we come out before the other band directors, that means we didn't make finals.
And that's okay. And that way that'll allow you just to sort of prepare. And
so they were watching for us to come out.
Strangely enough, typically if you don't advance, like last year we didn't advance and we just went on. We just wanted to get out of there. We have other agendas for the day. Let's go be with our kids. We were actually one of the first ones out of the tunnel.
Right.
Because all the directors just kind of stayed and hung around. And
they were visiting underneath.
At the end of the day, we're all friends.
Right.
And we want each other to do well. And we're cheerleaders for each other. And I think the small school, quite possibly the most, because we know what we have to battle with every single day.
Right.
And everybody's a cheerleader for each other, even if we're a little hurt or a little bit, excited about it. And so we came out and we knew that we had advanced to finals. And we also were the last marching spot. So we knew that the kids were going to hear 4 different bands before they heard ours. We just went up the steps. I tried to look disgruntled,
knowing that our sons
were going to be
saw
watching
us walk out first.
They were just already, and I told Michelle, I said, I'm going to put on a little show for them. And so I turned on my acting face and body movements and looked a little upset, and then we went up the steps. We stood behind the band as they were announcing. when they announced it, the kids, that to me was one of my favorite moments of the entire trip, was watching those kids be excited and clap for other bands as they announced, well, we get to our kids, and they announced us, and that moment was just, it was really beautiful.
It was awesome. It brought tears to my eyes.
It was beautiful.
Because it was something we hadn't had for 2 years, and then to see them get that again.
And if you're in a small school, if you're a teacher and your heart is really in it, regardless of the classification or where you teach, you have a connection to those kids, and you just want everything the best for them. You want them to just have the best experiences. You really do want the best for them. And it hits you in the feels when they accomplish that. And sometimes that even happens we talk about small victories. I think in just about every podcast, we talk about small victories. This was a big victory, and it hits very close to the same. Something
else, though, that we talk about is setting goals. And that was one of the goals that we had set for ourselves, was to break back into finals.
And that was a student goal. My goal was 6 or better. And 6 is not a finalist, but 6 shows me that we're headed back in the right direction.
But for those students to reach that goal, that was huge for them. It was just it was heartwarming and exciting. And I was just so proud for them.
And really, that right there would have been enough.
Yes.
We talked to the students.
Go ahead. Tell them what you said.
I looked at the kids and I said, hey, how many of you can improve one thing from our performance? And every kid's hand went up, and I went, okay, guys, just do that. Let's go eat lunch.
And that's stolen, by the way.
And I stole it. One of our clinicians, George Little, who's a very dear friend of ours and has had some of my favorite military marching band performances, and is genuinely one of the nicest people on the planet, and is one of the smartest people on the planet.
Yes.
He said that to his band last year. And I went, you know what? There's something really poignant about that, because as much as we are a team, everybody has that individual level of responsibility. They know what they need to do.
And we can get into the details of it, but they know.
We do get comments after we perform. This is the first year I have not listened to them. They're audio comments.
Have you listened to any of them yet?
I have.
Okay.
And they're all 100% correct. It didn't matter where they put us in the ranking. I typically agree with, yes, your assessment is correct.
Yeah. When we won silver in 2022, you listened to the prelims comments, and I know you were like getting really hot and bothered by them. You were like so upset.
I was very upset.
Okay, so do you think if you had listened in between performances, do you think you would have felt that same way?
Yes, I do.
So
100%.
Do you think it was good for your mental health to not listen?
Oh, I think it was 100% good for my mental health not to listen, because I tend to take everything personally. And if I think our kids do well on something and somebody tells me that we don't, I take that personally, and I shouldn't, because music is subjective.
Right.
There are so many different ways to style a march, and very few of them are wrong. I have heard amazing educators style marches different ways. And specifically, when you have a stinger on the end of we don't do stingers on the field, because that's just asking for precision problems. But when you, in the concert stage, you can do a short stinger, you can do a long stinger, you can do one that's resonant, you can do one that's a little bit more lifted, and none of them are wrong, and all of them are impressive.
Josh doesn't do stingers on stage either.
I've done stingers, and I like the longer version. But it's all subjective, and so you're getting this feedback, and sometimes, especially when you're listening to 5 judges, and they tell you, we're here to help you, and they almost always say that, but it's very hard to see that sometimes. And I feel like growing as an educator,
and occasionally you get like
contradicting
comments.
Yeah, and that's just hard, because, and Lord knows if I ever, and I don't think it will ever happen, but if I ever were a state judge, I guarantee you that my comments would not line up with everybody else's, and I would be the one that everybody would go, well, that guy doesn't have a clue what he's talking about.
Yeah.
And that's okay. So I decided not to listen to him. Told the kids,
because
guys,
honestly,
you're awesome.
Honestly,
so proud of you.
There's not time. We don't have a place that we can go work.
You can't fix everything they talk about.
Yeah.
You just have to go, okay, we just have to improve on what we did before.
You've done the work leading up to it. And you just have to hope that the kids can remember everything that you've told them leading up to this in the time from summer band to now.
Yes.
And you have to hope that they just have their best performance.
Mm-hmm. What's incredibly special about this is the fact that we went into finals in 5th place. So it did not matter how we performed in finals. Now, we did not tell the kids this. That was not for that was not for them to know.
I mean, they may have
We
found out
knew-
from somebody, but
It's
We didn't
very
say
possible. We
anything.
didn't say anything to them, and we didn't say anything to very many people at all. With the goal being, hey, we can go in, have a great performance, come in fifth, and that's still awesome.
yeah,
That's a win for us.
we're still a finalist.
We're still a finalist. We get to
still
go
get
back
the big
and
honking trophy.
yeah, and that's really cool. And so we went and spent a lovely time eating lunch, went back to the hotel, prepped for finals. And my voice, by the time we got to the finals warm up, was gone. It was dark. They had not yet turned on the parking lot lights because we were kind of in the purgatory,
Like the
of
dusky
part.
not
And
quite
so-
totally dark, but it's dark.
And I don't think any of the 2As had sufficient light.
No, I don't
to
think
be
so either.
honest. Like when we started,
But really,
I
did
really
the
don't
4As
think.
either? Not really.
Not really.
It
I
was
mean, you're just
pretty
kind of in the dark.
Yeah.
Like in the 4As, they use speakers to help them be heard. They use megaphones because their bands are huge.
Right.
These bands are amazingly huge and can like blow what little hair I have left off
We
my
don't
head.
normally need that stuff because our band is
It's 48
not
kids.
huge.
It's 48 kids. So I didn't bring it. Now
But
I'll take it to
he
ball games,
should
but I should
have.
have. We go into warm up and I can't speak. The kids know that I can't speak, so they're being really just
They really were so
super
great. They were so
super
great.
quiet and focused. I was trying to get the point across doing all these interpretive dance moves, and I'm glad that there's no video of it
But
anywhere.
also at this point, those kids had been through warm up for a contest like 4 times before.
yeah.
So they knew what
They knew what was expected,
They knew
and
what
we
they
don't
needed
change
to do.
much from one to the other. We always work our show backwards and play little bits
The
and pieces.
only difference is we only had 30 minutes rather than 45.
And which in a small school, that's great. You can get a lot done in 30 minutes versus 45 just seems long to me, especially when it's hot. And it was not particularly hot that day. So that was
It was
nice.
cold at that point.
It was kind of nice. We get done with our warm up. We go in. This is kind of down a rabbit hole. Not that we haven't gone down rabbit holes yet. I always tell our students that in order to remember, they need a little Mr. King on their shoulder.
Oh, yeah. We haven't talked about this.
Yeah, we haven't talked about this. That little Mr. King can be a cheerleader for them. Hey, you can do this. Let's get it. Let's get the rest of the way. Make sure you make that phrase. Da, 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 da. Make sure you're lifting this note. Make sure that you're really popping that turn. Make sure you're really kicking. Or it can be the mean Mr. King that goes, why can't you do that better? You know, whatever meanness you want from me. Miss King, with her very strange sense of humor.
My sense of humor is not strange.
I would never have thought of this. Crafted, if you will, tattoos for the students of me. My social media page was ransacked and a variety of different tattoos were made and created.
So there were
And
mean options.
unbeknownst to me-
And there were nice options of Mr. King's face.
In different poses
Different poses.
and different get-ups because, you know, I'm a theater person. And so I played Ebenezer Scrooge last year. And guess what? That was on. Matter of fact, almost all of my judgy faces were from theatrical performance.
Yeah, the mean Mr. Kings were all actor.
There was one that
Mr.
was
Kings.
Shakespeare. That was from Julius Caesar. There was one that was from Christmas Carol. But anyway, so the students got them and put them on. And Aiden and Noah were the sneaky devils that made sure they had them. The fact that they had them was not weird. It's where some of them put them. That was disconcerting.
My only rule was that they couldn't be
Seen.
visible. Like they had to be hidden by their uniforms.
And
So they were. They
Mr.
were.
Mr. King was a tramp stamp. A couple of kids, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. My face was a tramp stamp, and and they were proud. They were proud. They were so proud
They were so proud to tell
to
him.
have me right above their crack. I mean, come on. Oh, it was so embarrassing.
And Sutton King still has a Mr. King tattoo.
She does.
Because it won't come off.
And I still have a bunch left. So if you'd like one, email us at littlebandology@gmail.com and I will mail you
We'll
one.
mail it to you.
Just send me your address and I will mail you a Mr. King tattoo for your whatever. I'm not going to say pleasure because I don't think that's what it is, but for your, just to show you that they exist.
You too can have your own Mr.
King tattoo in the
stamp.
positive or negative vernacular. That was the rabbit hole. This is the weirdness that is our band program. We go in and we go down the tunnel, and I told the kids when we were standing I had to tell them 3 times because I had 3 different sections of the band because we're all spread out. And I told them, guys, enjoy this. You may never get to do this again. And so you want to enjoy every minute of it. and we get lined up, and the kids perform. And I watched more than I had in previous performances, and it was genuinely their best performance.
Yeah.
It could not have been better.
I got tears in my eyes because it was such a good performance. It was the best they had done all year. And the last time that I got tears in my eyes from a performance was when we won the silver medal.
They got done. They halted. They played our little tag, our little fanfare tag at the end. They put their horns down, and they started coming off the field. And I had tears. Michelle had tears. The kids had tears. They knew. They knew.
When we started walking away, like they came off the field, they marched off the field, and then we broke and started walking off, like out of the stadium. They were giving us hugs. They were so proud of their performance. It was awesome.
It did not matter at that point what the result was.
Yes, because they were proud of what they did.
We just enjoyed that moment together, and that made the entire experience from July. Because let me tell you, marching band in July, Mr. King is not a fan. Or August, or most of September. I don't like to sweat. But that whole moment that we got to spend together, it really justified all the work those kids had put in from the very beginning. And so we head back to the buses, we load up and get ready for full band retreat. Now, the kids they're relaxed. We had a little dance party in the parking lot.
We also had to teach them full band retreat because
we didn't expect to dance.
We expected nothing. So we didn't do that before we came to Waco. So we had to teach that to them real quick.
And there
in the
was
parking
another
lot.
band there in the same state we were. We were just both happy to be there. It was their first time at state, the Garrison High School band. They had done such a wonderful job in prelims, so they had advanced to finals. And we were both like, wow, we got to figure out how we're going to do this thing. And so we were both setting up our retreats in the parking lot, and of course we ate during the 4A finals, and they have a time you're supposed to go line up. Well, our kids were dancing, and I was visiting with some parents and just enjoying that time together, and we were late.
Yes,
we were late.
Josh looked at his watch and he was like, "Oh no,
okay, kids, let's line up. Let's go." And so we get over and we line up, ready for retreat, and the kids, there's like a nervous energy, but it's like, man, we've done this. All these bands, you can just tell all these kids from all these different bands, they're high-fiving each other. They're giving each other, because we don't know what the results are yet at this point. We don't have a clue. They don't tell us anything.
Yeah, it's not like before prelims where we find out before the kids know. Yeah. We all find out together.
And
for
so
finals.
Band directors taking pictures together. We're shaking each other's hands. We're saying, man, I really enjoyed your band. The kids are visiting with other bands, and it's really neat. We go in for the retreat, and if you're familiar with really BOA, UIL State Marching Contest, Open Class, all of them do these full band retreats. And I remember when they started talking about doing them, it was a number of years ago. And I remember thinking, that wouldn't be that cool. That's just a lot of hassle. And I was
wrong. You were wrong.
It is literally the coolest thing.
Really cool.
It is the coolest thing. They come out they had music. They were playing September, which is our pop tune. And the kids are just smiling. The band directors are smiling. We're lining the kids up, getting ready for the finals, results announcement. The announcer comes on after everybody's set, which, by the way, if you look at a picture of all the bands, they're all in nice straight rows, evenly spaced in true military form, except for my band. And it is 100% my fault because I told the first person to line up in the wrong spot.
Yeah.
And she listened because she's a good student and didn't even second guess it. But you look down and you're like, wow, that band looks a little wonky. That is 100% Josh King's fault. I'm here to tell you that band lined up the way it did.
Because the band director told him to.
Because the band director told him to.
And they
respect the band director.
Yep.
But the announcer comes over and he talks to the kids about how they're all state finalists and how special this moment is. Then you wait. They bring out the drum majors and then you wait for them to announce the results. And they go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So do we want to bring on our guest now?
Yes, we'll bring in. So one of our drum majors happens to be our offspring. And the drum majors come up and they form this nice little, it's very pageantry. It is very pretty. And they make this big sort of half moon or arc, crescent, whatever you want to
Drum majors front and center.
Yes. And so they come out and they line up next to each other and they're standing at parade rest. Now, granted, during all of this, the bands are standing at parade rest. We told our students, do not move. Whether you get fifth, first, or they forget to announce your name, you do not move. You do not react.
Because that's the military way.
That's the military way. And it takes away from another band. So if they announce second and you're celebrating because you got first, that takes away from the feeling of accomplishment from the second place group. Or if you're fifth and they've already announced you and they're announcing the other ones and you're just sitting there being goofy, that takes away from the special recognition of those other groups. Or if they're done with 2A and they're in 4A and you're messing around, then that takes away from
so it's a
those
respect
bands.
thing.
And so our kids understood that. And so they were standing at parade rest very well, and our drum majors were too. Our, I guess, special guest for this, our son Noah, who's our drum major and tuba player, because you can't march bassoon. Well, I guess you could if you went to Rice.
He's actually really good.
He's actually not bad.
At
He's
sousaphone.
He's better than me at tuba, probably.
Can I ask the first question?
You go right ahead.
Oh, okay. Okay, so
you
Noah.
can ask all the questions.
I think he knows what I'm going to ask. Noah, so why didn't you have a mace in full band retreat?
We're doing like the hard-hitting stuff.
Can you tell us about that? Where was your mace?
You see, I left it at the school sitting on my dad's counter, just sort of sitting there.
Sitting in my office, yes.
Yes. So the morning of, I forgot about my mace. And so I text my dad and I go, hey, I forgot my mace. Did you happen?
That is not true. He texted me, he said, did you load my mace?
I was about to get to that. I said, did you load my mace? And he goes, no.
Why would I load your mace?
And so
I said, check with the other drum major.
And I asked her and she was like, well, I didn't load it. And so I go down there in pajamas and grab the keys to the trailer, and I run out in the freezing cold because it was super windy that morning, and open the trailer, and it's not there.
No mace.
No mace. Luckily, my dad is friends with the Lindell band
So
director.
if you have
luckily, his mom said, "Why don't you text Weston?"
And if that name sounds familiar and you listen to our podcast, we actually interviewed Weston and Melissa, the Fishers from Lindale, is I think our last episode last season, and it is actually one of our top 3 most popular episodes. So if you haven't listened to it, and we have been friends forever. And Weston and I were best men in each other's weddings. We were roommates in college. We're basically brothers.
What he should have said is, luckily, Lindell's colors are also blue and white.
They are also blue and white.
Yeah, and I'm also glad that one of my drum major friends is from Lindell. And so he let me borrow his mace. The mace is named Jonathan.
Yes, they name their maces. I don't understand it, but to each his own, I suppose.
Yeah, and there's a few pictures of me having to hug Jonathan, even kiss Jonathan, because my parents weren't happy that I forgot my mace.
This is true.
And so if you look at the very, very last video of the mace salute, I'm the best invisible mace swinger, or whatever you
Air
want to call it.
Maces with the best of them.
Yes.
Since Lindell made finals also.
Obviously, they were going to use their mace.
Right. That mace was a double state finalist.
It was. We're going to try to do this from the band director perspective and the student perspective. So when they announced 5th, it was not us.
We were not 5th.
And I was ecstatic because we had moved up a spot.
Right. And so me and Josh looked at each other and we were like,
said,
oh,
we did
okay,
it.
cool.
All right.
And so I'm just
We
going to tell you,
approved.
every time they announce somebody, I am over there whispering, not Beckville, not Beckville, not Beckville,
See,
over and over again.
And I'm whispering, I bet that's us. I'm thinking, I bet that's us. They're about to say our name. And that's okay because we're here. We're a part of this. So, Noah, what was your reaction when they announced 5th place was not us?
So what's funny is that same exact thing was happening, and I was, this is going to be us, and Sharon was, please don't be us, please don't be us. And you can see sort of her mouth sort of moving, but she's very good at not moving her mouth and speaking. It's very scary. Every single time we got announced, especially 5th place, she was like, what? That's not us.
So they announced 5th. We clapped for that band because they definitely deserve to be there in the top 5 best in the state. And then they announced 4th, and I went, hey, we're back on the medal stand.
That was whenever my eyes started filling with tears because
and to look out at the band, they knew that we had gotten back to medal contention, and their mouths were open, their eyes were really big, and it was exciting. So like we were like, we have arrived, we've done it.
Did it hit you guys after they announced fourth that we had earned a medal again at that point?
Yeah, we both at the exact same time said, oh, we're getting a medal now. We were just going to be happy if we got third.
And then they announced third place, and it was not us. Matter of fact, it was one that is a band that consistently puts on a solid performance.
Right.
Concert and marching, and probably has one of the nicest directors in 2A in the state of Texas.
Yes,
like
agreed.
he generally is, well, their whole staff are just genuinely wonderful people. And so they announced third was Shelbyville High School. I looked at Michelle and I said, oh my gosh, we moved up. We're back at second. This is insane.
And okay, I think this is a story too. So at that point, one of the people who was handing out the medals, he started walking towards me with a box.
See, I didn't see any of this.
And then Noah.
The same time the person walking over the medals, the person who had the plaque was staring at us.
So like at this point, we're thinking, okay, yes, we got the silver,
and this is awesome.
We're prepared for us to be second place at this point.
And we were ridiculously happy.
Absolutely.
About that. And so then our kids are standing tall, they're standing still, they're not moving.
Super excited
our
because
parents are excited behind us. I mean, it's just a good moment because you know that we've come a long way. And then they announced second, and it wasn't us. I didn't know what to think because I thought, is there another band here? Because that can't be right. There's no way that this can be right. I mean, our kids did great, and I am super proud of them. And but in your brain, you're just running through
all of the things,
all of the reasons why maybe they forgot to announce you at the beginning, or maybe we were disqualified, and but you have no clue of that. But the kids caught on, and the parents caught on.
Yeah.
I mean, before I did, the drum majors caught on. But what impressed me the most is our students didn't react, other than
their face.
Their faces
And were reacting
they
sure.
had started tearing up and just being.
Yeah.
But they were holding it solid and steady. And
I grabbed Josh's hand
and squeezed it so bad I lost feeling in my fingers.
I had alligator tears running down my face.
And I started tearing up and wiped some tears because you don't want to be my goal is to never make anyone feel bad. I am that person. I want if everybody could win, I would be okay with that. And I think at the state level, everybody should feel that way. In my heart of hearts, that everybody is a winner if you've made it to that level of competition. It doesn't matter if that's one act play. It doesn't matter if that's band. It doesn't matter if it's choir. Everybody is a winner at that level because you're all deserve to be there. To me, that's how I feel about it. And so they announced that we got first. And
all right, so wait, hold on. Whenever they announced second, though, Noah, what was happening with you and Sharon?
The first thought that came into my mind is like, everyone's going to notice I don't have a mace. The second thought was like, oh, dang, this is actually happening. And I heard Sharon, and she was like, I'm crying, Noah. What do I do? I can't stop it. It's just happening. And I was like, just stay at attention. You're just going to be crying in your picture, I guess. If you look at the band, you will not see a twitch or anything. Just like, you'll see like their mouths or jaws touching the ground of how much awe they are in, but like you don't see them move at attention or anything.
That was a big, long lead up to say that we are the 2A state military marching band champions.
We won, y'all. It was crazy.
It was insane.
It was wild.
And it may never happen again.
Nope, might not.
It might not because these bands are, I'm telling you guys,
everybody's getting better.
Incredible.
Yeah.
And every director we talked to that came over to congratulate, because you do that, you go up to everybody and you say, hey man, congratulations. Every band director, like the first thing I said to him was, man, your band is so great. Thank you for so much for pushing everyone else
to be better. And
I truly, truly believe that's what this contest has done. It has definitely been a whirlwind since then, because you always work for the top spot, but you never know what's going to happen when you get there.
You don't realize everything that happens after you get there.
That when you get there, because truth be told, we stay in a bubble quite a bit in Beckville. We focus on what we're doing and not what everybody else is doing, because it's really not a rat race. In my opinion, I think it's all about just being the best artist that you can be and giving the most for your kids and getting them the most out of it. Because whether or not they're in your band program for just a year or a semester, or are there for 4 years and go on to college marching band, or become band directors or music educators or musicians, professional musicians themselves, that experience is going to be with them the rest of their life. And we want it to be a positive one as much as we can, something that they can look back on and be glad that they were there.
For sure. Yeah.
And all the things that they've learned. It definitely has been an exciting couple of weeks.
Yeah.
To say the least. When you do something like this, there's a lot of things. I didn't realize how big a deal it was. I knew that our community was going to be proud, but I did not expect the level to which they were excited.
That's true.
For these kids.
Yeah.
Not that I never question our community's commitment to our band kids at all. We could make a horrible rating at marching contest or have a bad performance, and they're there for those kids. Now, They criticize me when that happens, but they're there for the kids, and that's what they need to be, is there for the kids. Just the positivity and the joy and all those things. We had classes that were watching the live stream of us marching.
Oh, the cutest video ever.
There's a group of fifth graders that watched the prelims results,
announcements,
and they went crazy when they announced us as being
so
finalists.
Cute.
It was insane to me. That right there was a huge thing for me as a teacher, because those fifth graders are coming to us next year as sixth graders,
right?
And they're going to be really excited.
Yeah,
they're already really excited. They're ready to come up now from fifth grade and begin band. They're so super excited about becoming musicians. In addition to all of the excitement,
I think the kids' confidence has increased so much.
Yes.
Not just from the winning, but from the level of support and just excitement from the community. It has increased the band students' confidence in a way that I haven't seen since we've been there.
Yes. The performance after state was Halloween.
Yeah.
And we did not take anything seriously at that particular
we let
performance.
Them wear costumes.
They were wearing costumes. We had a bunch of hobgoblins out there marching across the field, and we knew, and it was not a state final level worthy performance, but
they needed that release.
And we just had fun. But the fans, even though it was not the state level performance, they stood up and clapped for those kids at the end.
Yes.
And and the kids felt that,
and they stood a little taller, I think.
They did, and they were very proud of themselves. That was really
And then the next
fantastic.
week we were not at home, and they still had the same sort of reception from our fans.
And the home fans of where we were.
Yes.
They were very receptive. What's really cool is when you take your band to another stadium, and it doesn't matter whether you're state champion or this, that, or the other sweepstakes band, whatever. But when you get a warm welcome from those fans, and there are a few levels of fans, other places that are so loving to every band.
Yeah.
And it's the ones that have long histories of band participation.
Yeah.
One of my favorite places to go and perform is Harlton, Texas.
Oh yeah, because they love their band.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That community knows what a good band is. Christy Spears has been there forever and has had wonderfully amazing bands. And half the town is in band. Her band is huge. And those kids have such pride, and that community has such pride, but they love any band that shows up. If it's a military band, even more so, I think. And they always give great love to our kids when we perform there, and we're always thankful to get to go to perform in Harlton, Texas. But Ore City, Texas is right up there with them now. They were just super loving on our kids and clapped and the entire show. And they did for their kids too. I mean, it's really great to be able to do that. Something Beckville does though, when you win a state championship, my superintendent calls it a tombstone.
It does kind of look like a tombstone.
And it's these big concrete Texas shaped pillars out in front of the school, the high school. And so Beckville has won a state championship in baseball, which was the year before I got there, and in volleyball twice. And I've said this before, Beckville is a volleyball school. It is a long-standing history of a really fantastic volleyball teams. So they have 2 of these, and they have all the students' names. They have information like their records and things like that. And so that was, and I just dismissed that was even going to be a thing. And somebody said, "Oh, you guys are going to have a tombstone, right?" And I've got to come up with a better term than tombstone, because monument, yes, out in front of the school for these kids, which is different.
Yeah, and we found out we're getting one.
Yeah, we're getting one. So that's kind of cool.
I mean, I kind of thought it was just a sports thing, but apparently it's a state champion thing.
Yeah, it's we've said it. I've said it a few times in this episode. It may never happen again. And so we're going to enjoy it. And we hope that if it doesn't happen for us, whoever it does happen for, we hope that they get to enjoy it to the fullest.
Yeah.
And our kids and us are going to be cheerleaders for them. 100%. With that thought, we're going to call it the end of the episode. Be sure to tune in next time. We will have Dr. Nikki Driver, and we'll be talking about her exploits into the trumpet and being a beginner band student at the age of 29.
Oh, yeah, 29.
She's only 29.
For sure.
Doesn't look a day over 28. We're really excited to get to interview her and ask her lots of questions. But until that time, thank you so much for listening and indulging us. This is a long one.
And thanks to Noah for joining us. Do you want to say bye, Noah? Any final thoughts before we go?
Yeah, I have a final thought. My mom didn't do anything other than order the tattoo. She even printed the tattoo wrong. She made us print the tattoos for her and made us do all the dirty work. All she did was spend the money.
I put the pictures in Canva.
And needless to say, we're going to have a discussion in my household after we get done with this episode. Oh, my goodness gracious.
Wow.
So thank you on that note. Thank you so much for listening. And we hope that you will tune in next time. Be sure to reach out on our Facebook page, Little Bandology, or email us at littlebandology@gmail.com. And until next time,
Bye.
Goodbye.